Yo, bass people! Hey ho! Welcome to this video. I met my good buddy Jon Munnier a few days back at the Reeveland Festival. He played there with his new band Anathame, and I of course took the opportunity to talk to him not only about the band, but also about his job, about Falconry, about Star Wars versus Star Trek, which is a huge topic for him, obviously. We, of course, talked about his new bass, which is insane. It looks crazy. It's a 7-string fretless bass monster. Wow. And all these different topics were discussed, and I hope you enjoy. If you do or if you don't, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. So here we are at the Warwick and Framers headquarters in Markneukirchen, Germany. Say Markneukirchen.
Markneukirchen.
Kirchen?
Markneukirchen.
Yeah.
Markneukirchen.
Hey John, good to see you.
Good to see you.
When was the last time we fucked shit up? Was that at NAMM?
NAMM.
Yeah.
Yes.
Winter NAMM.
Winter NAMM.
Anaheim.
Always a good time. Winter NAMM is always hectic, but it is always a killer time to do stuff. Check stuff out, see friends, and hang out, and as you said, shit up.
That's what we do.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. So you're here for the Reeveland Festival.
Correct.
You're playing with your new band Anathame.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell me about that. What's that? What's happening there?
So basically, it's a group of 4 of us, and we kind of got together, and the whole inspiration behind the project was basically to do things that we haven't ever done ourselves, as far as, you know, just overall music collaboration. There's a lot of orchestral accompaniment, a lot of you know, different musical just accompaniments that none of us have ever messed with before in our music. So that accompanied with, you know, guitars, drum, bass, and you know, some, you know, more metal, you know, traditional metal vocals and everything. It's just been kind of a unique project for all of us, and I guess that it's been a change of pace for me, because I'm not used to being in a project where the music is, as far as being played on stage and things, is meant to kind of enhance the backing tracks and the orchestral and the accompaniments. Mm-hmm. Usually it's always kind of the other way around.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, and a lot of this is geared more towards the mindset of, you know, basically, you know, trying to maybe look into movies, games. You know, we're kind of trying to write things that inspire us to branch out to other avenues too, for licensing and things like that. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the motivation behind it. So
cool. So you're not only thinking in terms of playing shows and tours and stuff.
Correct.
Also
yeah,
composing for movies.
Exactly. We're wanting to branch into movies, games. We don't want to be restricted to just one medium, and especially, you know, we like to do instrumental stuff along with, you know, things with vocals, and, you know, we don't want to hinder ourselves and to limit ourselves with the potential for the project. So we're really excited to see where everything goes. Mm-hmm. We've worked really hard to even get to, I mean, the amount of obstacles and hurdles we've had to jump through with all this has just been crazy. So, you know, we're just happy to be here. We're happy to get the chance to share it with people finally. And
so that's your first show?
This will be our first show.
Wow, great.
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's been a year's worth of culmination. Literally after I was here last year, we kind of got the offer to potentially play here this year, and so I hit my buddies up and was just like, yeah, we need to get a project like now, you know. So it worked out, and here we are. So I mean, I'm hoping that we can live up to our own personal expectations and put on a good show. So.
Very good.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like symphonic metal, or what can we expect?
Yeah, it's You know, the thing I like about it, as opposed to other quote unquote like symphonic metal, is, you know, there's a lot of times if you listen to other bands that have symphonic or musical programming along with it and stuff, is that it drops out. You know, like you'll have the orchestral piece and stuff, and then it'll stop when the music comes in a lot of times and everything. Well, the cool thing about this stuff is that a lot of the other instruments playing and everything, it keeps going along with, you know, the program, like you know, accompaniment and all that kind of stuff. So it works together. You know, it complements each other, and it builds up the backing stuff as far as the, you know, the music, and you know, it helps each other out. And the other thing that we have in mind as a goal also with this is maybe to potentially play with an actual symphony or orchestra, you know, at some point also, if we can work out all the details and logistics of that.
Financial
Yes,
details.
financial details
Sure.
too. I mean, we're looking into, you know, what all it goes into getting grants and things like that. It's a big undertaking. So
Yeah.
we're hoping maybe to get something together with that, and you know, maybe some other charities or something like that too, or whatever. Maybe just make it a big thing and see what happens.
Great. So that's a big task also for the front of house guy, right?
You know, the thing is I've tried to make it, being I'm also an audio engineer and stuff too, and so I do live sound, I do recording, I do mixing, mastering, all that. So being an artist, I'm trying to focus solely on being an artist, you know, and a musician in this avenue, but at the same time, I'm trying to make it as easy, instead of having 50 different tracks to, you know, for the front of house guy to mix or whatever. I folded everything down to, you know, a basic mono audio track, so that, you know, we can just send a simple click and everything down on one track, just to make it as easy for the sound guy and also, you know, our drummer as possible, because he's the one that's kind of, you know, making sure everything's synced up and ready to go to play with and stuff too.
So you got the mono orchestral tracks on one side and the click on the other side?
Pretty much, exactly.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
cool,
And then
yeah.
sending them out, and then the front of house, and you know, we'll be able to mix whatever, you know, that with the rest of everything else, and the monitor guy can feed back the click and the you know, that's the backing tracks to us for our in-ears and stuff too. So I try my best to not be a selfish lover in that regard. You know what I mean? Try to.
But it sounds great. It sounds great.
Yeah.
And what happened to On the Shoulder of Giants?
That is still a thing. We're actually in the works of writing some new stuff right now. Actually, Matt and Dean have been kind of you know, supplying the guitar and drum stems, backboard. Dean is in the middle, my guitar players on that project is in the middle of starting a new business and stuff. He's been really busy and everything, so that's always been slow going because we live in different states. I live in Indiana, Matt lives in Wisconsin, and then Dean and Mike, the guitar player and singer, live in Florida. So that's always, it just takes extra time with the long distance collaboration and stuff. But you know, with file sharing nowadays, it just happens as it goes.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's still going. It's still a thing. It's just it just takes time, and I've been so focused with this project, getting ready for this event, that it's been very time consuming.
Sure.
Not to mention the fact, you know, my normal other jobs and hobbies and everything else. So.
Yeah, I can imagine that projects like these don't pay your rent, right?
No, they don't. And I mean, does music really pay the rent for anybody anymore? I mean, really? I mean, I if it does, fantastic. I'm stoked for you. It doesn't pay mine. You know, I have to I have to hold normal job or whatever, you know, to pay my bills and stuff. But I'm also a respiratory therapist, and you know, for the last 12 years, I primarily specialized in taking care of sick babies, making sure they breathe right and everything, and all that kind of stuff when they're born. You know, anything severely premature all the way to full term. But then recently, I just needed a change. I switched careers. I'm still doing respiratory therapy, but I do sleep medicine now. So I test people for sleep apnea and you know, help determine what kind of CPAP, machine and stuff they need and all that kind of stuff.
That kind of special clinic or something where you do
Yeah,
that?
yeah. You just get referred, to your doctor, and basically they, your doctor refers you to, a sleep specialist, and then they do a study on you, and then kind of score throughout the night how many times you stop breathing, or whether or not you snore real bad, all that kind of stuff, and then that determines whether or not you need a machine to help you breathe at night better and stuff. A lot of people have it and don't even realize it, and they're tired all the time and miserable and stuff, and just can't figure out why. Well, a lot of the reason why is because when they sleep, their airway closes off. When they sleep in a bunch, and they don't breathe very well, so they're not rested. So anyway, that's what I do now for a living, and then on top of that, I've got all my other hobbies, everything else, and fly birds of prey, and
I know you're into falconry.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool hobby, I think.
It's cool when it works out.
What's that like? How does that work? Where do you get birds from, and do you grow them up, or what do you do?
Yeah, well, you can do a few different things. In the United States, our rules and regulations for our government, because all the birds of prey are federally protected, by our government in the U.S. I know, like in Europe and stuff, for example, it's different. They are not allowed to take birds from the wild pretty much around Europe. Usually you have to buy captive bred ones and raise them. You can do that in the U.S. also, but in the U.S. we also have the ability to capture birds from the wild too. And usually when you do that, they're within their first year of life. And the reason for that is because, most birds within their first year of life die, like 70-75% of them. So all the birds that hatch, pretty much within like only about a quarter of them, live.
Okay.
I mean, there's so many that end up dying just from they get hit by cars, land on transformers, power lines. They get sick, they starve. So. But anyway, we make up a very small percentage of what a typical hunting sport consists of. There's not a whole lot of falconers in the United States especially, but we kind of aid a little bit with the conservation effort. We'll trap a bird, and train it to basically allow us to be a part of what it would normally do every day, So we hunt with it and everything, and hopefully it comes back. And hopefully all those aforementioned disasters don't happen. They always say that if you can bring your bird back home in a box, and it's a good hunting day, even if you don't catch anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you just basically train it to accept you as a hunting partner, and you go and do what it would normally do every day. And it's definitely not a pet. It's definitely not for everybody, but I enjoy it.
Do you see it more as a sport, or more as a save the ecology, or save the wild, or something?
It's both. It's definitely to some degree a hunting sport, but at the same time it's a cultural, like intangible. It's a heritage thing too. So it's definitely something that is passed on from apprentice to or from master to apprentice, or or whatever. And it's basically it's not something that anybody can just do. So
has that been a thing in Native American culture? Because you say it's a cultural thing too?
Yeah, I'm not, I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to the Native American aspect of what they did with it. I don't really know how much the Native Americans were involved with the sport or not, but a lot of its origins come from, ancient, Asia, Egypt,
Arabia.
Yeah, and then from there, whenever a lot of the European, culture kind of started exchanging with those cultures, it got brought back to Europe, and then it kind of became what's kind of touted as the sport of kings. So it became kind of a thing for European royalty and stuff.
Right.
So from there it kind of evolved and trickled down to you know, over time, not just royalty was doing like this. But I mean, the funny thing about it is, you know, the kings and stuff employed falconers to basically train and handle all the birds and stuff. The kings just more or less came in and was just like,
go.
Yeah, so,
sure.
Yeah, better have results, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a really interesting history. It's not something that's widely known about. I didn't know about, you know, it being a sport still, but yeah, it still was.
So you see it as kind of European heritage, but you're also interested in other aspects of European culture. I know that before you arrived here in Saxony, you've been to Europe. You've seen Switzerland, Hungary, and all that stuff.
I've you know, up until a couple years ago, you know, I've always wanted to come to Europe, and then 2 years ago, for my first base camp, was when I got to see Europe for the first time, and I really enjoy the history, just the overall. You know, the overall feel of everything over here compared to how it is in the U.S. I'm a big castle nerd. I love castles. I love, you know, just all the history to me is just so much richer over here than it is in the U.S. I mean, our country is so young,
right?
You know?
Right.
But there's literally centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries, millennia of history over here. You know, so I'm always fascinated by, you know, the architecture, everything that goes in with all that. You know, so to me, it's just so much more interesting than our own country's history. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, we were having a conversation with some friends last night that live over here that, you know, I guess it's just what you're used to. You know, I don't know. I don't really know how many, you know, Europeans are interested in U.S. history or whatever. I mean, they mentioned that really all they know about U.S. history is that a bunch of rebels went over, settled in the U.S. and then that's it.
Yeah.
You know? Well, I mean, I don't know how much more fascinating it is for most people than, you know.
Yeah, what we learn in school. I'm playing in a band. We're working with local history a lot. And what we found out is what we learn in school is more about Native Americans and like different tribes and all that stuff, but of German history or local history actually. So that's kind of interesting because I think it's always, you're not there, so you should learn about the other countries.
Yeah.
You should know about the other countries, but sometimes they forget to tell you about your own country.
Right. Well, and what I've found also, especially with U.S. history, is that you know, it's all so skewed. You know, like you never really know, for example, like how much of the historical facts are facts. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't.
Yeah, but same here.
Yeah.
As they say, the winners write history.
Exactly, exactly. I've heard that several times myself.
Yeah.
It's very true, you know. So you don't always, I mean, so many of those things, you know, happened and you just don't know what the real story was half the time. Mm-hmm. And you're never gonna know. So, you know, it's just, not only that, but you only usually hear about the big events surrounding the big characters, you know, in the grand scheme of history, you know, the play, so to speak, you know, being, you know, the monarchies and everything else. And you don't ever hear about the little guy.
No.
Think of all think of all the history that happened with all the peasants and everything else, you know, in ancient, you know, Europe and everything. Like,
I think of that every time I see a church or a castle or something. That's big and huge, and these guys who lived there, that was interesting, but who built it, actually?
Yeah. Well, and how? I mean, like, I look at all these castles and stuff, and especially all the Gothic, basilicas, cathedrals, and like all that architecture. I'm just like, how did they do that? And it never gets done anymore that way. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's reasons behind that, to which I'm definitely ignorant to. But to me, it's just, there's so many things that happen with so many hundreds of trillions of people that have lived over time. And, you know, it fascinates me to know how those people lived. And I don't know. It's mind-boggling to me. I would have hated to live back then, but I'm fascinated to know how they did it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm sure they probably were like, whenever the Renaissance started happening and all that kind of stuff, they were probably like, well, I wonder how those people lived in the Dark Ages or whatever. It makes me wonder like what those people thought at that time too. It's just, I don't know. So anyway.
Are you doing kind of historical research in your family too? Do you know where your ancestors came from?
Yes and no. I mean, I have a lot of what we call a Heinz 57 mixture. I'm definitely a well, we call it the term Heinz 57 just because like the sauce behind like the barbecue sauce or ketchup / barbecue sauce, whatever the heck you want to call it. I don't know. Anyway, it's a sauce you can buy. It's got a whole bunch of different ingredients in it. So I'm made up of a whole bunch of different ingredients.
Right,
so like
okay.
people with a whole bunch of different cultural, genetics and stuff, I just refer to myself and that kind of person is like a Heinz 57. It's made up of a bunch of different ingredients. So I mean, I have German, French, Korean, Irish, a bunch of different ancestry and stuff. My mom's side, my mom's mother, my grandmother on my mom's side was full-blooded Korean, and on my dad's side is where I get the majority of the German French. It's like my last name Munnier. I mean, I know it's probably over here pronounced more like Munnier or something like that. And one of my friends was telling me that Stephanie was telling me that it's kind of like the common translation in the U.S. would be like Miller or something. It's like so. I mean, that's kind of fascinating to me a little bit that especially in Europe, like a lot of people's last names at some point were kind of geared towards kind of what they did as like a job or
What they did?
profession,
Yeah, right, right.
So so learning that was kind of cool. But I have ancestry on my mother's side from one of the last like Korean dynasties that were prominent then. There's a lot of weird history that goes along with that kind of stuff too.
But that links to the falconry.
No, it's got nothing, and that's the whole thing. I wish that I had a logical explanation that I got into half the crap that I'm into, but I just stumble into stuff and I think it's neat, so I want to do it. And if I think it's neat enough, I'll do what I need to do to really experience it myself. Otherwise, I just kind of take people's word for it and like that's cool, but it's not my thing, and I'll just move on. The falconry thing was like that just happened to be something that I found out about. Was lucky enough to find some guys to show me the ropes that were not complete jerks, so to speak, about it and stuff. I found a good group of guys to learn from and stuff on that, and that's half the battle with falconry. It's just finding a good group of guys to hunt with and everything, and that's really the foundation, the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of the sport and the heritage of it is getting together with a group of guys, sharing experiences and just giving each other crap and stuff and whatever, joking around and just having fun. But yeah, I wish that I had some kind of. I wish I could research back so many and be like, oh, so and so great grandpa, Munnier was a master falconer. I wish I could.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's who knows. It's but yeah, it's I'm one of those types of people that I have to stay busy and I have to stay occupied with a bunch of different things, because if I end up not doing much, I get depressed and I get bummed out, and if I stay occupied with a bunch of different things, I don't have time to let my mind wander too much, you know. So, but that's just kind of me on that end, and
Great.
So.
What I found out when I researched about your new project Anathame, that the name actually comes from a Warhammer computer game, and I know that you're into that. You're kind of nerdy when it comes to games.
I'm nerdy.
Science fiction, comics, whatever.
Yeah, I'm nerdy. So yeah, and I know that's pretty prominent, especially in the UK over here and stuff. With Games Workshop and I'm a big Warhammer nerd.
Oh, we just had Gamescom in Cologne.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So I mean, I'm a big nerdy tabletop gamer, and play all kinds of different tabletop games. I'm also, into the video games and stuff too, and comics and everything. And I'm also a big collector of original art. I love collecting, artwork. I'm not big into prints because, they make a bunch of them or whatever. I like having like that one piece of art that exists in the whole world.
Okay.
And it's on my wall. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, that sounds expensive.
It can be. It can be expensive. Yeah. Yeah, you can, pay anywhere from $1,000 to several $1,000s, for one, for one.
You talked to
painting.
Stuart Ham about that?
No.
Because he's also nerdy in comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've talked to Stu a few times. I've not talked to him about comics, but no, I wish that I had more time and money. I had a pretty nice collection at once. I still have a decent collection. It's not as big as it was. I actually traded off a bunch of my collection for an original art piece. I actually traded a bunch of my rarer, I don't say rare books, but more collectible books for the original, the movie Spaceballs?
Sure.
Yeah. The original concept poster art for the Spaceballs movie poster. Yeah, it's on my wall.
Wow.
So yeah,
okay.
I have that.
Who did that?
Mike Dobson or something. I have to look it up. Forgive me. But yeah, I can't remember.
I thought Mel Brooks did it himself.
I don't think so.
I think I read that somewhere, but
Yeah.
I'm not nerdy in that.
Yeah, I don't know. And like I said, the concept art is obviously different than what ends up with the final product. Like just like if you look at all the Star Wars concept art that like guys like Rob McQuarrie and them did and stuff, like Luke Skywalker and Vader and all those guys look way different than what the final product is.
Right.
So, who knows? There's always usually multiple people involved with that kind of stuff.
I remember the discussion we had 2 years ago with Chuck Rainey, I think it was, and John B. Williams about what's better, Star Wars
versus Star Trek.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. We have that conversation a lot in our band because there's certain people in our band.
And we don't want to look at that.
We don't want to look at them.
No. Might be guitar players.
Yeah, it might be stupid guitar players that
Yeah.
think that Star Trek is cooler than Star Wars. How in the hell anybody can? And I've got other friends like that too that are silly.
And they're still friends? Kind of.
They kind of get downgraded for a while to acquaintances and stuff. It's the reason why we don't hang out outside the band.
Yeah.
I just don't,
Sure.
There's a lot of things that I can tolerate and stuff, but until someone finally admits that they're wrong and declares that Star Trek is in fact not better than Star Wars, it's hard for me to give that initial extra piece of my heart to them. You know what I mean?
I see.
So anyway, it is what it is. We have, Kelly upstairs was who else was involved in that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And me and him were like shouting across the table at each other. I know I was about 2 or 3 glasses of wine into that conversation, so I was starting to get obnoxious with it and stuff too. But I finally was just like, it's cool. You're allowed your wrong opinion. It's fine. Whatever.
But it's wrong.
Of course it's wrong.
Sure. Yeah.
And Star Wars is anyway.
Very good. So, we were talking about your new band, and I saw pictures of your new bass. Did you get it just for the band, just for the... it's a 7-string fretless, so it's kind of a very special thing. Is it only for that band and only for...
No. The last 7-string bass that I got, was fretted, and I kind of got it because of my... other product, On Shoulders of Giants or whatever. And, I kind of got it because my guitar player was, extended range, 8-string, whatever. So when I was looking into just getting a 5-string or a 6-string, extended range instrument or something to accompany it, like a lower tuning, what I was finding was that the price difference really wasn't that different than just a standard 34-inch scale 7-string.
Okay.
So I was just like, well, why don't I just learn how to play, or get used to playing a 7-string bass? I have an extra string or two that I'm not used to in case I want to do higher stuff or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured it's about the same amount of money. So that's kind of why I did that. And so now that's just what I play. I just play sevens, pretty much. And I wish I could say that I was as proficient in it as I'm a pretty self-deprecating, modest kind of guy. So I'll be the first to tell you that I suck. It's weird. But
was that seventh string thing inspired by Jeff Ewell?
No, actually, I didn't meet Jeff until after the fact. I stumbled onto Jeff, because I've listened to 6 Feet Under off and on, whatever. But, I didn't realize that Jeff was a Warwick guy until I was getting ready to come to base camp a couple years ago for the first time. And then I saw, him posting on some stuff or whatever, and went ahead and added him and everything. The person that I actually got my first bass inspiration design from and everything was Jerome, from Thessaly, from
from Obscura.
Obscura,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, and a heck of a guy, love him to death. So love Jeff to death too. But I saw Jerome's bass and was just like, that's what I want. Like, that's literally that exact design is what I want pretty much, except I want frets for my first one. So that's where I got the inspiration from that from. But the second bass, now that I've been playing for a while, where I got the inspiration from my second bass from was when I was here last year for Bass Camp Reunion. They made a special 4-string master-built model that had a swirly Bubinga fretboard.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I was just like, instant, I was like, whatever. And I was just like, I want one of those, but I want the whole bass. I want the whole bass to be swirly Bubinga. So I went with Marcus and picked out my wood and stuff. And, basically, it came out just like I wanted it to. I was really happy with it, and I like the tone of it too. I mean, anything Bubinga for me is always kind of what I'm looking for as far as just the density of the tone and all that kind of stuff. So.
And people, we want to see it right now, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Do I need to get it? Do I need to get it?
Yeah, sure,
Okay. All
sure.
Right. We need to stop.
No.
Okay. All right.
He just gets it from over there, because that's where it is. And now look at that.
Yeah.
That's insane. It looks absolutely crazy.
Trying to get it to where there's a little bit less of a shadow on it so I can see the wood graining and stuff, but you can see up close too my custom inlay.
Yeah, the inlay is
the rabbit
great.
And the hawk. It's pretty awesome. So turned out about as good as I could have hoped for. Like I said, you can see the difference in the wood grains and just the overall
and the
contrast.
wooden pegs.
And the wooden,
that's
the
amazing.
matching wooden pegs and everything. So it's good stuff. And then what I love now too that Warwick's doing with a lot of their stuff is that if you notice on the back with the battery, they offer rechargeable USB.
That's right. They offer you USB charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot more convenient than changing out a 9-volt all the time.
That's right.
So, but yeah, no, it's.
But it's
good
heavy
stuff.
as fuck, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure I'll be crippled by the time I'm like 40 and I'm 35 now.
Okay.
So,
So it takes
Yeah.
3 years.
No. It'll take another 5 at best. Probably 3 because
Yeah, you never know. Right.
But yeah, that's where
How's it tuned?
Well, right now, I mean, if it was standard, it goes low F sharp to high C.
I see.
But
So it's a 6-string with an additional low string.
yep, pretty much. And the way we're tuned right now with Anathame is we kind of double, you know, the E and the A. So we kind of drop, and it gives us extra, I don't know, like flexibility with, you know, the chording and stuff like that, and what we play.
So it's E E A A D G.
It's a E A E A D G.
Okay, I see.
C.
All right. But that's the low one is the
Yep. So
really
so yeah. You
low
got
E.
the low F sharp I tuned down to low E, and then the low B I tuned down to A, and then to match basically the normal standard E and A, so that basically, you know, if we want to, you know, do I don't know, it's kind of like an open drop tuning match.
But that's kind of 20 hertz or something to the low E.
Well,
You almost cannot hear it.
yeah, you poop a little bit every time you play it. I'm kind of scared to find out what happens tomorrow. I mean, I have, you know, they say that, you know, about 6 hertz, you know, they say about a 6 hertz frequency will make you crap yourself.
Really?
That's what I've always been told. I mean,
Okay.
I've actually heard some people talk about like some kind of military technology that they, and this is probably all just speculation, is silly, whatever. But like, I've actually heard that there's actually military, you know, I don't want to say weaponry or whatever. They've devised to make people crap themselves. The problem is because it's 6 hertz omnidirectional frequency, the person that would be shooting at the other person would crap themselves too.
Right.
So, you know, it's, I don't know. It's something that they haven't quite perfected yet, I'm sure. I'm sure it totally exists. Or whatever. But, you know.
I
so-
only know that elephants talk in infrared.
Really?
Yeah. They talk in really low frequencies like 6, 10 hertz, something like that.
Huh.
And they talk during their feet.
Really?
Yeah. Over miles.
I'll be damned.
It's just like this brrrr,
Okay. Well, that's neat.
and they get together in the hertz and all that kind of shit. That's what they do.
Yeah, I know they have really long memories. You know, they,
Right,
they
right.
remember like where one dies or something in the middle of their, you know, like they're very family oriented and stuff. So like if one dies somewhere, if they come back across that path again, they'll circle around that spot.
Yeah, right.
And you know,
Yeah.
kind of have a little mourning, you know, session and stuff.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no. That's the only thing I'm really kind of worried about tomorrow is whether or not I'm going to crap myself on stage. I'm kind of wondering whether or not I should even eat tonight. But
You don't go with Kelly. We've been to the Mexican place yesterday, and that was hot.
really,
Yeah.
really.
So you don't want to have that on stage.
Well, I know. Stephanie took us to that tapas. Yes, tapas. That's what it was. Yeah, in Plowton last night, and it was really good. However, I probably should have went a little bit easier on the you know, goat cheese wrapped bacon and things like that. Maybe actually take that back. Maybe I should have more cheese because it'll plug me up. That way.
That's right. That's
that,
right.
That
yeah.
way I'll be less likely to crap myself. I don't know. We'll see. Well, I mean,
So if I can help you with that, just let me know.
Okay.
I'll get you some,
laxatives.
yeah, whatever.
Well, maybe I
Whatever.
should go ahead and just take care of that as much as possible tonight at the hotel. Just spend all night.
Yeah.
Just skip dinner. Just take a bunch of laxatives. Clean out the colon, so that
That's
I don't
right,
have
yeah.
any issues with that.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
right. Yeah.
Well, I'll know because even if it doesn't affect me, you know, if I all of a sudden see you just kind of when this kind of like duck walk to the real fast
Yeah,
to the restroom or something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Then you know.
Yeah, then I'll know.
It works.
Then
It
I'll know
works.
what the secret weapon is, military.
Exactly.
Then you can contract me for millions of dollars to just randomly strum my low E string.
Yeah.
Get rid of all of your enemies, so just make them crap themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus yourself, of course.
Well, yeah.
Because as we said, it's,
It's a sacrifice I'd make. You know, whatever for a few $1 million.
yeah, for freedom.
Costs a $1.05.
So John,
Yeah.
thanks for talking to me.
Always a pleasure, buddy.
Appreciate it. And yeah, looking forward to your show tomorrow.
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, fantastic.
It will be great.
Yeah, no, we've been excited. We've been really, really excited for it. Like I said, it's been a good while in the making, and we all really, you know, sacrificed a lot of time and effort. I mean, every band does, but the amount of stuff that we had to go through to get to this point is insane. It's a whole other conversation entirely. Let's just say, you know, probably almost $20,000 to $30,000 in fees and everything else just to get different issues taken care of.
Wow. Okay.
Passport issues, the whole 9 yards. Man, we're ready.
Great.
Ready.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man.
Have fun.
Yeah. Always. Anytime.
See you next time.